Hi, hello, JJ here. And I wanted to make this video because you may have noticed I had to take a bit of an unexpected break this last week, mainly due to illness, but also just life. It's coming up to Christmas, it's a super busy time of year anyway, but just a lot of things all going on at once. And I started this podcast because I really wanted to do like a weekly series of discussions, kind of looking at the queer interpretations of different media. And for the first, 4 or 5 weeks, managed to do that. But it's a huge amount of work, right? And it's not just the planning, the research, the filming, the editing. The editing is a big part of it. That is a lot of work. Just trying to get it perfect. But then, of course, also finding all the visual elements to go in it as well. So, it's a lot. And this is not my job, right? I have a full-time job. So this is on top of that. And yeah, I've also been having some doubts about the podcast format, whether it's working to have a long 30 or 40-minute episode and lots of different sections and segments. I feel like I'm covering a lot of different topics in one episode, but not necessarily getting into the detail or the depth that I would really like to. And also, it doesn't easily allow people to consume just the bits they're interested in. So if you just want to dip in and out of, particular analysis, or you're interested in a particular movie or something, you're going to have to listen to a long episode just to get that bit. So I've been thinking about playing around with the format anyway, and this week has just given me time to really think about what I want out of this. So I don't know if I'm going to do a weekly 30-40 minute podcast for now. I think what I'm going to do is still take the same content, the same format, but split it into its component parts so that I can give proper focus and attention to them. And then the other thing for me is making sure that I'm not kind of relying too much, I guess, on the visual element, that this is a podcast first and foremost. And where I do need to include visual elements, that I've got more creative control over that. I'm not restricted by copyright or by different sort of licensing. And I'm not really particularly good at illustration or anything like that. I might have to learn some skills. But having a bit more creative control. I'm going to focus for now, I think, on the audio aspect and really making this a podcast first and foremost, not a YouTube video series. And that might mean that there's less visual elements for now. I'll still film it, so you can watch if you want to, you can see me on the screen, but if you prefer to just listen, you can put it in a separate tab and carry on listening to it in the background. That's totally fine. Or it'll be on Spotify as well, so that would be another way to access it. And then I'll figure out the visual element at a later date when I've got a bit more time and space to do that justice. So yeah, it will continue, but in a slightly different format, both in terms of the level of visual elements, but also in terms of the way that the content is done as well. And hopefully that will make it easier to engage with, more interesting, and provide a different platform for conversation. So yeah, look out for the episodes this week. The topic was going to be on simulated realities, and it still is, but I'm going to cover that in a slightly different way. So the first section I'll be doing is a bit of a queer analysis of the simulated realities in The Matrix. That's the first bit that I will publish. And then there'll be other sections throughout the week that you can sort of dip in and out of as you like. So yeah, not a weekly format anymore for the time being. We'll see how it goes. This is an experiment. It's a chance to learn, see what people enjoy, what they engage with, and then we'll revisit in the new year. But it's still Queer New Worlds. It's still got the same focus and the same content, just in a slightly different format. So tap the like button, the subscribe button if you want to get notifications when the next bit's out. And until I see you next, live long and fabulous.